ring. No.
Yeah, 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 that's nasty. What's up, man? It's been a hot minute.
It has, man. So, and just so you know, for everybody listening, this is pre-recorded. We're not live, so don't bother calling in. But you can put all the comments you want. I'm sure someone will read 'em.
Maybe.
But but no, we're not live. We wanted to cut a quick show because lots going on, and like Andy said, we just haven't been around, man. We said, and what a ton of stuff, man. We are living through history.
That's a fact, man. Here's one for you. Let me. I'm gonna lay a cliche statement on you that's being thrown around all the time, and I want to see what your reaction is. We're living on the right side of history.
Oh man. Well, the first thing that popped into my mind is, are we winning? Because
Right,
that's who'll determine
right.
who was right. So who said that? Are they winning?
Uh, it comes out of the leftist camp quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know, man. It's so wild. How this
Wow.
election year is shaping up, right? I mean, there was basically no primary, right? I mean, they kicked Bernie Sanders off for Joe.
Mhm.
And then when it was apparent that he couldn't run, word on the street is he was threatened with the 25th Amendment, in a move by a advisor, top Obama advisor, not Obama himself, which my understanding is causing a problem as well, that he didn't even have the balls to call him himself. But basically, they threatened him, which is why the letter came out not on letterhead. It wasn't prepared. That was you're going to do it, and you're going to do it now, or we're going to 25th Amendment you on Monday, and more stuff's going to come out. So there'll be some interesting things to see in the future if that's true, because some things were promised that have leaked as well. One of them being Jill Biden requesting a book deal, 2 million and a book deal. So we'll see if she gets a book deal. That would kind of like credence.
From what I understand, people that I've talked to that are in the know, that's pretty much that's Obama's mo.
Right.
He
Right.
doesn't like to get his hands dirty.
Oh, sends the surrogates.
Yep.
And then the other kind of rumor mill out there, in the circles and conservative media, was that Kamala Harris was also told, you're being given a golden start, do something with it, or you're not coming back.
Yeah.
So for them, it's a win-win, right? I mean, if Harris loses, they get to sweep her and Walz, right, who had a disastrous governorship. Disaster. I mean, they're trying to prop it up now. But I mean, if the media did its job and played that video of the police walking down the street shooting citizens on their porch with paintball
Mm,
on their porches,
right.
and he had the police shooting them with non-lethal ammunition. Um, I mean, if that stuff was playing everywhere, the riots, the comments he made during the riots, and various other things, not stopping and everything. Maybe anyway. Bottom line is they're both disasters. However, right? What you're watching, and I'm quoting Ben Carson here, or bastardizing his quote, what you're watching is an experiment in the media's ability to control an election in real time. If that experiment works and they get those two in, well, then we can go balls to the wall, right? Because everybody knows they're crazy. If they're out, we clean ticket. And now you have room for the buddy judges of the world, the booty judges, and, um,
Booty.
whatever,
I see what you did there.
who's the other guy up in California?
Oh,
Glenn,
Newsom.
yeah, Newsom,
Yeah.
um, Gavin Newsom. But so you have, so they get to sweep them off and then put those in, right? I mean, so you get a whole brand new ticket. You can go balls to the wall or brand new ticket,
Right.
right? If you win down ballot too, of course, right? I mean, they'd have to maintain the Senate and the House, otherwise, you know.
It's crazy times, man. I think well, I read an article earlier today that Putin is coming out and he's behind Harris. He wants Kamala, whatever her name is, to win.
And then they just unsealed the indictment. If you're watching tomorrow, it was yesterday. If you're well, yeah, because you're not watching right now. So yesterday,
Don't confuse me.
yesterday. No, they just unsealed an indictment of Russian assets paying tenant media to pay conservative influencers to push information or something. I don't know. The indictment, it's weird. And I'm not sure what'll come of it. I mean, with all the lawfare, it's hard to tell what's real,
Nothing.
what isn't. You
Yeah,
know?
nothing will come of it.
Yeah,
You,
I don't know.
you know, I saw interestingly enough that some of the I don't know, like, well, let's just call it for what it is. CNN. CNN is starting to get a little bit more aggressive with the Harris campaign.
Interesting.
And interestingly enough, that started happening. And you know what? I'm not saying it's connected, but oh my God, there's another school shooting.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Somebody pointed that out. Every time it's in a liberal town right before election.
Yep.
Yeah,
Distract, distract, distract.
but yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's funny you say you say that. Oh man, I lost my train of thought.
Excellent.
That's how it happens, man.
Every show. If it ain't you, it's me. If it ain't me, it's me.
Oh man, I know.
Wait,
So
what?
I was telling you earlier, and I think it's the perfect time to talk about it. So I listened to two stories, and for all you tinfoil hat guys out there, man, get the duct tape because your head's gonna explode. Um, as Glenn Beck would say, get out the duct tape, wrap it around because it's about to explode. So there's a guy named Mike Benz. You can check him out on Twitter. He does a lot of interviews and things. He was a State Department guy. He worked for the State Department in Intel, computer analytics type stuff. So that's how he knows all about how the computer systems work. It's what he did, right? He was an IT contractor. Um, and his whole purpose and point, if you watch his videos and stuff, is not the public policy. He's not interested in that. He doesn't care about whether or not we should be involved in regime change or anything like that. His point is the internet is not free, and it should be. Right? You are not free on the internet. And he will show you exactly how it works and how it breaks down and what they do. Because he was involved in it when it was outward facing towards other countries. And his big point is that in 2016, Donald Trump won. And it was at that point, and there were two other elections that the CIA had heavily invested in: Philippines and Turkey. And both those candidates, the State Department and CIA were pushing, lost as well due to social media and information access. And they realized that, you know, free speech is a threat to what's called institutional democracy. So democracy by the people, and then now there's a new term, institutional democracy, and he'll tell you it's starting to appear in writing, but they're still saying democracy, but you have to look for it. Because in institutional democracy, you can ignore the will of the people, right? Because enough people have already spoken out once about this, and we're already down the road. We're not turning around, right? And
Yeah.
so he says, and these people speak different languages, right? And we were talking a little bit about this, and we didn't go into it because I got sidebarred. So I'll try to stay on track. We were talking before the show, but he talked about mis, dis, and malinformation, and he said you have to understand the differences, right? Because these people speak in a different language. He said, like democracy and then institutional democracy. He said, so you have to nail them down when they say democracy. You have to ask, are you referring to democracy or institutional democracy? Right. And then they'll have to answer. They'll have to explain. Um, but he said they have mis, dis, and malinformation. He said misinformation. That is information that is not true that you accidentally let out. And that's misinformation. Disinformation is information that is not true that you purposely put out. Malinformation is what we should all be paying attention to. He said malinformation is information that is true, but it harms the narrative. He said.
It's
And
every
so
day.
so when they say we are looking for mis, dis, and malinformation, that's where your censorship is coming from. When you see malinformation in charters, when you see that word anywhere, he said that is what they are using to take from you or to silence you or to shut you down. That is malinformation. That is against institutional democracy. And if you don't explain it to people and you say, are you for democracy? Yes. And misinformation and disinformation and malinformation are hurting that. Should we edit that? Yes. No, you shouldn't.
Right.
Mis and dis police themselves.
Right.
Malinformation needs to be out in the public square and let the people decide if it's malinformation or not. Because that's what Mike Benz points out. Who determines what's mal?
Interesting. So does he come up with a solution at all, or is he just pointing out the problem?
No, he's just telling you this is all happening, and if you don't start paying attention and voting for it, like you got to get your people to stop it. Like he's pointing out everything that's happening. In the couple of interviews I've heard, I don't think people really talk to him about solutions other than exposing it.
Hmm.
Just keep exposing it. Just keep telling. Like people don't understand. And he even goes into Mike Benz even goes into how the system works. Right? They have the bots. They have the bot farm. Right? And then what you do is and they're oh my gosh, they just unleashed video on this. I can't believe I didn't bring this up earlier, but it was on the Glenn Beck program. He actually played the video of Kamala Harris's now chief of communications, back then was just a regular staffer, bragging about this computer program. Or maybe you and I did talk about this, bragging about this
Hmm.
computer program that skims all of social media, right? That they have embedded in Facebook and all these other companies, and it collects everything, all your clicks, your likes, how long you stay on the story, what stories you're looking at, what stories you're commenting on. It gathered all of that. The DNC, in
Hmm.
conjunction with Facebook, gathered all that information. And then what they started to do was isolate you according to your choices. So, and the guy actually outlines a couple of things they did it to Hunter Biden's laptop, a couple other things that one of the things they call, and he even says, now this was true, but it was a problem. Right.
Yep.
So anyway, but they identified how they did it. And so basically what happens is, um, they say Hunter Biden's laptop, 51 CIA guys came out and said it's Russian disinformation. You come out and say, no, it's true. I've seen it or something, right? Even if you had, right? Then what will happen is they will send immediately stories to your feed about how it's all Russian misinformation. They will send comments to your feed. They will send paid actors to your feed, right? Like you'll all of a sudden start getting all kinds of stuff that makes you feel you're the only one that thinks that way and you're all alone. And he brags in the video that they think they may have swayed 280,000 votes with that program alone in 2020.
Yeah, we did talk about this.
Yeah. So Mike Benz is the one who explains all that. He explains how it works, how it's done, how it started, what happened, and why they're inward facing now.
Hmm.
And how it works now, and how you have to, you gotta vote against this stuff. You gotta understand, the internet is not a window. You're not seeing what you're seeing what someone else wants you to see.
But I'm gonna set you up here pretty good. But does voting even really matter?
Right.
Because of our next.
Yes. Yeah. So I see that interview, and then I see the most depressing interview I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen Edward Scissorhands.
I've watched Rosie O'Donnell.
That was I'm man, you are a saint.
Oh,
No, but when Edward cut his hands, I felt so sad. Anyway, but we'll go back. So voting, right? So I listened to Mike Benz, right? And I just recently heard him again talking, because people talk to him all the time. And like I say, you see him on Twitter, and he does have some paid stuff you can see because it costs money to research, costs money for him to do stuff. So I'm watching another interview, unrelated, different interviewer, and I wish I could remember the guy's name because I'd love to like pull the clip and get it for you. I'm sensationalizing, but these are the words he used. They're talking about Trump being elected, and he was like, "They're not gonna, they're not gonna allow Trump to be elected. He's not gonna be president." He was like, "You can hang all of that up." He was like, "Did the Democrats have a primary? No, no, they kicked out Bernie, and Biden was good. Then they showed the world Biden has problems, which they covered for forever. She should be unfit just for that alone, lying to the American people about the fitness of the president of the United States, right? That should tank her. 2 months ago, horrible human being, ratings in the 30s. He's like, now all of a sudden, JC, right, on water. He's like, the people didn't choose that. He was like, "You think they're gonna?" No, and then what he went on to say, and this is what I thought was so depressing, because to me it made sense. There are world institutions, there are treaties there are countries making choices right now based off of things we signed last year. And you're telling me they're going to have to stop everything because the people in America changed their mind this year? He was like, no, no, there are things in this world that are not subject to the whim of the American voter every 4 years. No, it can't be allowed. He's like, even if he gets elected, he'll have a heart attack or something, and JD Vance will get talked to. He said Kamala Harris is good because she won't cause a problem. But we can't be jumping in and out of the Paris Accords. There's too much money in that. There's too much investment. Other countries have too many things going on. He's like, we've expanded too far. Now, I'm back to me. I don't think that's right. I'm upset about it. I don't think it should be that way. But goddamn, that makes a lot of sense.
Does make a lot of sense, especially if you go back and review history, recent history. I'm speaking 30, a little bit 30, maybe 40 years ago with the first Bush in office. What was he pushing? He was pushing the New World Order back then. Should have seen it coming, you know. Uh, Conservative Republican, you would think that he would not push that agenda, but he did, and that's exactly where we're at now. You know, when you've brought this up multiple times. You know, you've got the same types of things happening in multiple countries, and the government response is exactly
Yes.
the same. It's parroted.
Yes. Yeah, it's happening all over the world. And that's why they're saying you can't have somebody come in here. We just made Britain open up. We made France open up. We made all these countries open up because we said you're open. And now you're going to close? You're going to cause a problem over there. They're going to want to close. They said that, and that was the other thing Mike Benz pointed out. Wasn't just the 3 elections. He said you also had Brexit. That pissed
Yep.
them off a lot. And now look, where's Britain going? Right back in. Right back in. The media machine went to work. And
Uh-huh.
they are going right back in. Paris Accords, media machine went to work. We went right back in. He's like, there are some institutions, and this guy was saying, and he didn't think it was right either. He wasn't out there saying it. That's me adding flair, like rubbing it in your face, like,
Right.
hey, we got things going on here. I'm saying it to make you mad. You should be mad because I was mad. I was mad because that is so believable
Hmm.
that, yeah, we could vote whoever. It doesn't matter. The same laws are being passed in the same West. All Western countries are having a problem with migrants. Every Western country is having a problem with migrants. And what do they keep telling them? You're getting more. Suck it up, Buttercup. You're racist. You're getting more.
It really brings a strong case up for nationalism.
I I agree. I mean, you had Rickards talk about how we need to get back to the Ford model for supplies. We can't have this type of crap, man, where we get hung up on a pandemic like that.
Right.
This is America, man. It may, and hey, look, the prices are up. We start manufacturing at home. People are already used to it. The time to do it is now.
Yeah.
While people are used to this crap, and then we can start looking at, how can we make things cheaper at home, you know?
I wouldn't be surprised if we see another pandemic here in the very near future.
Oh yeah, monkeypox, huh?
Monkeypox, something.
Or
Um,
mpox, or I don't know what the hell is the proper term now.
Monkeypox. That's what I'm sticking with.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
amazing.
ridiculous, man.
It's beyond ridiculous. But fool me once, right?
Oh man, it's so absurd, man. I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, the lab leak theory. But what's more believable is that a bat flew 27 miles, shit in a pot, 2 people ate it, and fucking world shut down.
Right. The only way I would
Yeah,
believe that is
yeah, that's exactly what happened.
the only way I'd believe that is if a bat flew over a couple Marines eating something because them fuckers will eat anything.
I'm
So
right. I'm just saying, man. The only thing that like doesn't have my lid blown off is the duct tape, and the fact that I know alien historians are gonna watch these videos going, look, he's saying it again. A bat flew 70 miles, shit in a pot. And
it's
they had
gonna
18 million die. Are you kidding? These people deserve to burn. These people deserve to burn.
we're gonna win an alien Emmy for comedy, best comedy show.
I'm just saying, man.
Look at
There's
these
gotta.
idiots.
Oh my god, with binoculars. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh my god.
A bat can't. And then There's probably one asshole alien in the back going, "Well, is it African? Was it an African bat or a European bat? You know, you know. Well, I don't know.
Brings up a great point.
Right?
Maybe we should go probe someone and find out.
Yeah, it's not a question of weight ratio. It's a question of where he grips it.
Well, I'm gonna recommend they start probing in San Francisco. I mean,
Oh
they're already
man,
used to that. If
you don't
you
even
know,
have to probe, man. There's fucking samples on the ground.
that's true.
They got maps that'll walk you around the samples.
Ew.
I know. I know. It's insane. It's
It
insane.
just that just I don't know, for whatever reason I got a visual in my head about that. Was just disgusting.
You remember the app? They had the app.
Which app?
Like, it was like a crap tracker app for San Francisco. If you're gonna go to San Francisco, they had an app you could download.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. It would help you avoid piles of human shit.
Oh my god.
Probably like a Waze for
Yeah,
people.
real time.
Oh yeah, right there. Dude, do you know how quick you could achieve Golden Knight status just marking shit on the street in San
Oh,
Francisco?
it's disgusting. What a shithole, man.
Those
Why
beautiful
does
ones.
why does anyone think that that's okay? You
I
know?
don't know. I don't know why there's always the conversation about welfare and social, programs and everything. And my thing about social programs is look, I'm all about them. But I don't think you're doing enough to prevent fraud. And I don't care if less than 2% are fraud. Get rid of that 2%.
Right.
If I felt like it was policed correctly, I would feel better. But
Sure.
yet, and I don't know, man. And well, no, I do know. Shame is a powerful motivator. Go back to food stamps. None of these EBT cards.
Yeah.
Pull your stamps out. Look at the list. Yeah, it's embarrassing. I know. I get it. But you got to be motivated to get out of that.
For
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? And that is
I'm
a power.
all I'm all for a hand up, not a handout. Connie worked with a woman many years ago that her husband was on government assistance. And she straight up admitted to Connie, yeah, he's not going to go find a job. He's making more money on government assistance than he would be working.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why? Why would you stop?
And that's what I'm saying. And my thing is the fraud aspect.
Yeah.
We know how to stop it. Just freaking stop it, man. Just freaking stop it. And yeah, a little bit of shame, man. I'm sorry to say it, but we need to motivate people to get out of it. The Brookings Institute, right? That Republican think tank, just kidding. The Brookings Institute identified 4 things. I think they may say 3 in the article, but I mean, it breaks down to 4 in my opinion. That there are 4 things that you need to do to get out of generational poverty, and you can be out of it in 1 generation. Graduate high school. Don't have children. Get married. Get a job. I think the don't have children was don't have children until you get married. Get a
Yeah.
job. That's why it's 2. But I break it down to or that's why it's 1, but I
Mhm.
break it down into 2 because you should get married, right? And I know people will sit here and they'll say, "Well, I hate that society works that way." Well, but it does
Yeah.
because that's fair, right? Unfortunately, it is fair. 2 working households are going to have more income than 1,
That's right.
right? They just are. So, you get married, you have a better income, you create a better life. Just be judicious in who you marry.
That's
Right?
right.
Just be judicious. Just be judicious in who you marry, and it won't be a death sentence, right? Like, I hear a lot of people, "Oh, man, I saw my parents married, man, it's fucking miserable, and I'm not gonna get married." And you're like, "No, just then do it right."
Right. You know, speaking on that comment of, well, my parents and they're miserable, whatever. To be fair, a lot of those marriages were done out of necessity, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that was weird.
Yeah.
Whoa, what'd you hit?
I think I took it off. I think I took it off regular,
Oh,
and somehow it went on whatever the hell that was, echo,
reverb.
something.
I was like, wait a minute, man. I like had to pause for a second. Did I just hear that?
Yeah,
In
I
my
was like,
head?
am I out of power?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was saying. Anyway.
Oh, you're talking about parents and miserable.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and a lot of that was required,
For sure.
like out of necessity. That's what the Brookings said. Brookings said, look, if you do that, you'll be out of now. Now, here's my question: Can what are public schools doing to teach any of that?
Nothing.
Any of that?
Nothing.
That is what they've identified to get. And I'll tell you what, I can't find an argument against it. The only arguments I find are, well, you shouldn't have to. Yeah, I hear you, brother.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
hear you, man. I hear you. I shouldn't have had to go into the military to secure a pension for the rest of my life, but it was my only choice. It was either that or don't have a pension the rest of my life and work at McDonald's.
And be miserable.
I don't know. Sometimes I think I would have been happy, but I don't know about that. I wouldn't have had shrapnel in my hands, this is for sure. Well, who knows? It's dangerous there now anyway.
That's
But
true.
but I'll tell you what, man. It's just very, very, very. I lost my train of thought again.
Say
I
it didn't, so.
I did lose it, and I got it back from a different conversation.
Ah,
So I was gonna like dial it all the way back to Mike Benz, but I'm like, no, we're
yeah,
way down that road.
we're past that. But no, it's it's the
Oh,
proof
miserable
is
relationships in the Brookings Institute, getting out of poverty. That's right. Get out.
yes. Yes. The proof's in the pudding, man, you know. Um,
Yes.
it works. You can complain about it while you're still impoverished, or you can do something about it.
Yes. And now let me now to go back to the food stamps, right? And shame, right? And talking about how it's a powerful motivator. I was in the grocery store with my dad, and I was behind somebody who had food stamps. And they were paying with tickets. And I was like, they're paying with tickets. They're not using money. They're paying with tickets. What? Well, we need tickets. How do we get tickets? And my dad was like, no, you got to, no, stop. Like, be quiet. Be quiet. And then he
Mhm.
like tapped me in the mouth, I think, or something, like giving me the
Shut
telling
the
you to
fuck
shut
up.
up,
Yeah.
right? And then we get out to the car and I'm like, no, they have tickets. What do you mean no? And then he like explained it to me. And he said, that's why they shop at night. And he's like,
Mhm.
and that's why I hate bringing you to the grocery store at night. But but his but he explained to me how, my dad was a lifelong Democrat, I found out.
Mhm.
Not surprised. He grew up uh, working in the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, he, was always, probably old school Democrat. I don't think he'd be down with any of this
Mhm.
transgender nonsense for sure, because he was always about the kids. But anyway, um, it was oh geez, keeps happening to me, Andy.
You lose your train of thought
Again,
again?
again, because I was thinking about my dad.
You talk about food stamps,
That's right.
shaming.
Yeah, and so he just was explaining to me, and in his explanation, he was saying how rude I was without telling me,
Huh.
right? But like, people need help, and that's how they're helped. And it comes with restrictions. You can't have candy because I said I wanted the tickets, right? And he was like, you can't have candy. You can't get candy with those tickets. Those tickets are for things that you need and you're required to have. He said that's why it takes time to check out. He's like, and that's why they try usually to come at night. You see people who use the tickets because they know it takes time and
Mhm.
it's embarrassing, And he said, because for a variety of reasons is what he was explaining to me. Anyway, long story longer, their shame taught me a lesson, you know, because I mistakenly judged them,
Mhm.
like and I was saying a whole bunch of crap and I was young and I didn't know what was going on. And I never wanted that to happen to me. And I never wanted to be seen like that.
Right.
But we have removed all these examples from people because we don't want anyone to suffer or see anything or, have a bad time, whatever.
We don't want your feelings to be hurt.
Yeah.
We want to be nice and cozy, and everybody's happy.
Nobody's getting
However,
calluses.
that's for sure,
Nobody.
unless they're on deployment.
That's right. That's right. Then they're getting, and then they're not ready for it. You know,
There's different calluses, but whatever.
man. Oh man.
It's wild, man. I don't know. Obviously, no one's psychic and can predict the future, but you know, so many predictors that are out there that can help you make an educated decision or guess, if you will. But I've got nothing, man. We're in crazy times right now.
Yeah. Hey, let me shift gears with you. Tell you a funny story.
Okay.
So I was playing that game, Armory Forge, or the Mill Sim. They set up an operation to go. They wanted to capture this high value target. I think it was what they were doing, and they set up this whole mission, this whole operation, and it crashed all around. Right, it's a video. It happens all the time. I think because they just like to shoot shit. You know, so
Right.
they just let's go out there. It turns into this giant, shooting arena. Right, it's just crazy. The AR dropping everywhere, shooting everything. And I said to the guy, I said, "Hey, whatever happened to that target?" The guy was in charge, and he was like, "Oh man, we killed him a long time ago." Then I looked over to the other guy, and it's a mill sim, right? So they try to role play their roles.
Mhm.
So I look over to the other guy who's a medic with me, and his name is Ranger Rick, and I said, "Hey Rick, you know what the best part about medical is?" And he said, "What?" I said, "During the investigation, no one's gonna ask medical how that guy died." I was like, "We're clear, man." I was like, "But him, he ain't gonna be in charge of shit ever again." He's like, "That's right." I was like, "Oh yeah, man. No one's coming to medical going out the HVT." We
Hilarious.
we could just. I have no idea. I have no idea.
You need me,
But
I'll
it
be in
was
this.
violent. I saw it. He died violently. That's for sure.
I'll be in the smoke pit if you need me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But yeah, we had a laugh about that because yeah, I mean, truthfully, yeah, no one's coming looking to me. How did he die? I have no idea. I would think the TG's over there.
That's hilarious. Hey, speaking of mill sim and that kind of stuff, I've got a guest lining up for us. Um,
Yeah,
if anybody out there that's interested in special amphibious reconnaissance corpsmen, we're gonna have the guest, the person to give you all the gouge on that you want to know. I'm not gonna say names yet.
guy
Uh,
wrote the book on it though.
Pretty much, he was.
He certainly added chapters to it.
Oh, for sure, man.
I was fortunate enough to train under him for a couple of weeks.
So
Not him every day. I mean, he's
right.
a busy man, but I got the benefit of his wisdom a couple of times.
But he's an outstanding person all the way around. Very knowledgeable, just a just an overall good dude. I don't want to talk him up too much. I don't want his head to get too big. But anyway, if you're interested in becoming a SARC or a Special Amphibious Reconnaissance Corpsman, which by the way, we have our friends Dan and Sarah. They've got the American Warrior Foundation that they're
Yeah,
working on. I've kind of stepped up and started helping them out in the mentor role. And I spoke to a young man the other day. Oh, look at that. That was a mistake.
thank God
Um,
that wasn't me. I thought it was me for a second.
right. I forgot I had that turned on. Oops. Anyway, yeah. So, I spoke to a young man the other day who wants to be a corpsman and wants to go the SARC route. So, um, it's just kind of cool to be able to give back that way. We're no longer in, but we still matter. We still can make a difference and train our relief, right?
Yeah. I heard from a good friend of mine, there's no more short course.
I heard that as well.
You want to be a SARC? Come on in. And 3 years later, you can hit the fleet.
Wow.
But it's gonna be a fun 3 years.
Yeah. Wow.
You you gonna get strong.
Great.
Who did I told that to I can't believe he never heard that, man. I talked to our good friend who we're gonna try to get on the podcast, Staff Sergeant Purple Heart winner, shot multiple times. Freiberg, we're gonna try to get him on. He's an EOD legend. And we're just working out the times, right?
Right.
Um, but Yeah, he's an interesting cat, man. I remember he told me he got shot 7 times. I said, "Oh, man, you can't patrol near me, man. You're like kicking a black cat into a mirror, brother." Like, we're gonna change elements here, man. I'm not patrolling with you. Um, see, you had me thinking of that. Now I forgot what I was gonna say about Freiburg coming on, but we were gonna try to get anyway, we are gonna try to get him on.
Yeah, you're
To
talking about Major
Oh,
Payne.
EOD. That's right. Strong, being strong. I had always heard from Navy EOD techs, right? They were like, "Oh man, we're either smart or strong." That's how it goes. Like
Right.
100 push-ups a question, you can get it back. like so, you're either like really smart or really strong. And so I asked him, "You really smart or you really strong?" And then
He didn't get
he
it,
told me
huh?
a pretty funny story, man, that I hope he'll tell on the podcast. But another good dude. I mean, we got a lot of good dudes lined up.
Yep. And
And
some
that's one.
ladies as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I think one of the benefits, that's one of the benefits of a lot of these veteran organizations. And if I can just take a second to say, I talk to a lot of young guys, and they don't want to be a part of these organizations or do anything with them because they're out, and they're done.
Mhm.
And yeah, yeah, I could tell you, and I'm sure Andy could tell you too. That guy's in every one of them, man. There's one of those guys in there who's can't let it go,
Yep.
and is still, wears his rank on everything and has it sewn in, yeah, that guy is there, right?
Right.
But you don't have to listen to it anymore.
Nope.
You don't.
You tell them
You-
straight up, shut the fuck up.
yes, or don't say anything and just come in and get whatever. But what I can tell you is, the value of these organizations. That's where we're meeting these people. That's where we're meeting these heroes.
That's
These
right.
guys that gave everything, that understand, the sacrifice that of the people before them. And when you get to these organizations, they are, I mean, I'm almost 50, and I lowered the average age in there by at least 15 years. They're suffering, man. And that's why, you guys are, think about this for a second. And I hear it in the area where I am. I'm in the Pittsburgh area, like, there aren't a lot of Memorial Day parades. Yeah, because they're too old. They're too
Yeah.
old. We get the requests. We get requests all the time for towns that want to have a parade or start a parade, or they want to do whatever. And in my Marine Corps League, there's 15 of us. 4 of us can stand long enough for a parade.
Damn.
4 of us. And so we can only do what the 4 are free to do.
That's right.
They are, 3 of them can stand less and less. you know, and we want the help. So if you want more Memorial Day parades, if you want to talk to these heroes, these people that have amazing stories of being shot 7 times while raiding a house, or these guys that did the SARC pipeline, or all these, they're out there, man. They're at these organizations. Talk to them.
I
Go hear their story.
I can kind of understand to a point why the
Yeah,
younger generation doesn't want to go because it really is. It's a crapshoot. It's hit or miss on whether a particular post is going to be worth a damn or not. Because you could have one right next to your house that's not worth a damn, but you've got one maybe 20, 30 miles down the road that's outstanding.
yeah,
But who wants to go through all that, And if you go into that
yeah,
first impression, right, you get that bad taste in your mouth, and I can understand,
yeah.
but
I do.
give it a
I do.
shot. Give it a try.
That's what I try to encourage people to do. Check it out, man. Just at least check it out. See what's up. The VFW that we meet in is
Mhm.
80% affiliate. I just learned that.
Wow. Wow.
Cheap drinks. That's what they're there for.
That's all they're there for.
They said you can't, like, you go in there, it's hit or miss if you'll have a veteran in there.
Jesus, man.
Hit or miss. Hit or miss.
The one by my house is like that. The one where we had the retirement ceremony.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I don't think it's 80%, but it's higher than what it should be,
Yeah.
for sure.
Exactly. And it's because people don't go,
Yep.
and I get it too, man. I remember talking to somebody about, what happened to all the chief clubs on base, and they were like fucking pissed off junior sailor, junior MAs sitting outside. That's what happened.
Yep. But also to add to that, it became that culture when the culture started coming in of, well, that's not fair.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's why they're. Why do you think they're wearing khaki shirts now?
I I I will tell you to this day, that is the biggest scandal, or should be the biggest scandal, because all they had to do was say, "Hey, everybody, tomorrow, put your white shirt on with your black pants."
It's all
Professional,
it's all it comes down to whose pockets are getting lined.
and it looks too officery. People will be confused.
Mhm.
What I was told, because I said you wasted a lot of money because this was the uniform in the '80s and it was fine. It
Yep.
was fine.
Yeah. But idiots, I say idiots. Certain individuals they get promoted to certain spots and they feel that they have to leave their legacy on the Navy.
Always,
And that's where this crap comes from.
always. It used to kill me, man, when the CO would be like, "This 5-year plan, you're leaving in 2.
Right.
You know someone's coming with their 5-year plan. You know that, right?"
Right.
Why would you even say a 5-year plan?
Yeah.
I
I
don't know. I don't know why they do it, man. I don't know why they do the things they do,
I don't
but
either.
they do it.
Well, I mean, you get that senior, you lose touch with reality, man. You lose touch with uh, the deck plate sailor. You know,
Yeah.
you're not down there, man. You've got captains kissing your ass. You
I
know,
s I
bringing
yep,
you coffee and
I spoke to a, captain, who was active duty, and when I met him, he had gone reserve because he had done his time, and now he's just doing his thing, right? Picking up extra bucks.
Mhm.
But he sat on the board that approved the Joint Commission coming into the Navy, right?
Oh God,
So this is back in the early '90s, right?
asshole! Did you punch him in the mouth?
No, but I complained, and he thought he gave me a good explanation. I mean, he gave me an answer. I
Mhm.
said, why did we even bring them in?" I said, "'Cause, I was in Iwakuni, I deployed to Iraq, I came back, that's when I met him."
Mm.
He taught me a one-handed loop stitch, it was pretty cool, he's really good guy. Um, so I asked him, "Why are we doing the Joint Commission? We're in a war right now, right? Like, if the Joint Commission comes to this, we're not closing Yokosuka. It's
Right,
not shutting down. That's
right.
not happening. It could fail, and that is not happening, right? So why are they even coming?" And he's like, "Well, the CO would get fired." I was like, "How's that my problem?" Like, no, I mean, like, let's be real here. Like, I want to have a real conversation with you, right? And I used to be very bold. For those of you
No,
that don't know me, I'm trying to be better now, so it's very confusing to people. But I was very bold back in the day. So I was like, I want to know why. Why would you do it? Because that's not happening, right? None of this. They always say they'll come and shut us down. That is not happening. I know that's a lie. So
right.
why are they even here? Right? I said, because I had IG experience, right? You will not find people like me and older. No one younger than me. I'm telling you right now, no one younger than me has sat through an IG inspection of a hospital because you're not younger than me.
Hey, slow down.
Yeah.
Easy. Jesus. Like I
No.
needed that reminder.
No, I'm sorry. Because people have to understand I came in right at the end of this, right? So there was no one else to talk to about this stuff except people who were above me,
Right.
right? Um and the people above me are all about it, right? So I can't so anyway, long story longer, I had the experience of going through IG, and I actually was to make a long story longer, we created a position with a lieutenant that put me in a very critical point in that hospital. I used to run supply for that entire first floor, um, except for the pharmacy and the X-ray, and we would do it all, and we would mingle in. So I was one of the larger departments. So when the IG came, I had to be in the meeting twice, right? Because they would come every year. Um, so I got to sit with them twice. The second time I sat with them, I felt more comfortable because I had been through it, and I brought up a couple of issues, and that the dude was on it. I said, "I have a problem almost running into people." Well, tell me if this isn't a problem, Andy. Unattended kids in the clinic.
Oh,
Unattended kids in the clinic was a problem. It was a huge problem, right? And because and the Navy doesn't really want to do anything about it because the husband's out to sea, the mom doesn't have anyone to watch the kids, and so they really kind of turn a blind eye to it. Well, I almost like ran over 4 of them, man. Like I was coming down with carts, like because we redesigned supply, and I'm going through the hallways now, right? And the back hallway in particular.
Right.
So unattended kids up front was okay, but in back, they're gonna get run over. So I almost hit a couple of them, and I think I did hit one and knock him over, and he was okay. Um, but I brought up the point, like, no one wanted to say anything about unattended kids, right? You bring that up like you're being a jerk, right? Like, why would you bring that up? We can handle that locally, but it wasn't being handled locally, so I brought it up,
Right.
and the dude was like, What?" He was like, "I understand unattended kids, in the front, but you don't have anything keeping them up front. Like, you got them wandering the back hallways." And the guy was like, "Well, I mean, it does kind of." He's like, "No, that has to stop immediately." He was like, "Thank you, thank you." He's like, "That has to. You cannot have that. You cannot do that. I mean, I understand being polite, but he was like, you cannot have. You have to have a line. You need to put a line on the floor, and they cannot go past that. And you put a staff member on it if you have
Mhm.
to." He said, "But you cannot have unattended kids running all over." He's like, they have to be in the waiting area where the parent is.
Right.
So so my experience with IG was that IG gets it fixed immediately
Right.
if there is a problem, because it was a group of captains sitting around. I wasn't talking to Joe Blow, CEO of Ohio Healthcare. These
Right.
were people who knew how this shit runs, and you could not lie to them.
Mhm.
They knew where it was, right? Was that your experience?
Yeah, totally. Um, with Joint Commission now, it's the complete opposite. They tell you what you have to do to fix it and get it done, as opposed to the IG is IG was designed for exactly what you just described. There's a problem, it's not being fixed on the local level, you've exhausted your other resources, bam, they come in and make it happen.
Yeah, they inspect, and then they
Yeah.
have the conversations, and then they're like, "Oh man, you can." Right. So back to Captain Brown, right?
Mhm.
So now that's why I'm saying I'm able to speak like this to Captain Brown. Like and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but only myself or somebody older than me could ask this question, right?
Right.
So everyone he was around, anyway, long story longer, he finally sat down with me to talk about it. And he told me the truth. He said, "Look, you're right. They're not going to shut anything down. They don't have the authority to." He said, "In fact," because the other thing I pointed out was we have a special liaison that goes around with them to explain all the variances in the military.
Right.
Because when he started to say it keeps us on par. I said, "No, no, 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 because we should fail just by me. An IDC, you don't go to school for 1 year and just be raining medications down on people, man. No, no, you failed." "You got this guy in here?" "No." "Where's his degree from? He doesn't have one?"
Right.
But no, no, right? That's a failure. And that's when we sat down and started talking. And he said, Navy captains and admirals and commanders were retiring and having trouble getting jobs in health systems because the health
100%.
system does not have IG. They have Joint Commission. And the board of directors of these hospital systems doesn't care that you are in charge of Bethesda, which may be 10 times the size of the hospital. They don't care. They want to know you can get this hospital ready and past a JCAHO inspection. He said, that's why we do it. He
That's
said,
right.
it allows us to tell civilians that our healthcare is on par with the civilian sector, and it helps our captains and admirals and commanders get jobs afterwards. Otherwise, they will not come in.
That's exactly how I had it explained to me
Yep.
by a senior captain.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do this song and dance so that, Admiral Smith can get a job when he retires.
Yep.
And we could tell, Betty her health care is just as good as out there,
Yeah.
even though we have
Meanwhile,
a special liaison.
what we're not telling Betty is that, oh, by the way, we're paying for Joint Commission to come in.
Oh
It's
my
the
God.
biggest scam in the world.
Oh my God. I predicted that they would probably, and I know on the pit I should be on tape or even early on in this, it's saying they are going to have to change their name They are continually getting caught with investments in medical companies, and they're the ones who run around telling you which tech to use and which needles to use. And they're
right?
just continually getting caught in these joint funds with, investment, like these large investment portfolios, and it'll have like a medical.
It's the biggest scam going, man. It's
That there's
ridiculous.
where were they? Where were they during the pandemic? They
They
disappeared, and they
they
haven't
were
come back.
they were hiding in the basement with their masks on.
I was gonna say, I think they're gonna change their. I think they're gonna have to change their name, right? Because they had to change from. They used to be the
JCAHO.
Joint Commission on Hospital Accreditation, and then they had to change to just the Joint Commission, and
Yep.
then the JC, and I don't know what the
Yeah, JC and
I
the
don't know, man. But it is a scam. I mean, it's a scam. These guys walk around, and everybody's running around like a chicken with their head cut off, trying to get everything ready, and the whole thing. I just one thing Crazy Carl used to talk about is if every day's inspection day, who gives a shit when they come?
I said that all the time, and I said that to the OIC at the clinic that I was working in,
Hmm.
because we're doing stupid, everybody staying late,
Hmm.
dumb shit, and, I sent my people home. I stayed, and when
You
she
remember we
walked.
used to walk around? Weber would have us walk around in
Yeah,
teams.
yeah. Well, when she walked around, she's like, "Well, where are your people?" I said, "I want send them home." She goes, "Well, what gives you the authority to send them home?" I don't know that commission that the president signed saying, "Hey, I'm a commissioned officer." And then she's like, "Well, I didn't authorize." I said, "Well, you want me to call him back?" you know?
Why?
Well,
Yeah.
no. I said, "Commander," I said, "it's real simple." I said, "Why are we doing this stupid shit?" She goes, "Well, the Joint Commission." I said, "No." I said, "If you're running your shop like you should be every day, then you don't have to do any of this stuff." "Well, we still need to be prepared." I said, "Well, clearly we're not." And that's the same one. I'll tell this story another time, but this is the same one that told me I wasn't allowed to have tattoos on my arms as a
Oh,
commissioned officer because it's an unwritten rule. And I said,
oh.
"Well, that's a great thing about unwritten rules. You can't friggin' enforce them."
Glad we're tried by the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law, Sergeant Major.
Right?
Well, that's not the spirit of that regulation. Oh well.
Boo, there's a fucking
Oh
spirit
man,
for
that
you.
sucks.
Well, we say we wrap it up. We've been on here for a hot minute.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we just want, like I said, we just wanted to some contact, content. We haven't been around in a while, and we're still working on other projects and all kinds of other crazy stuff. Um, and yeah, I mean, we'll be back. We'll be back live soon. We'll be looking for some entertainment. Don't be depressed. Hey, it looks like the world's crashing in, but you know what? Don't forget, social media is not a window to the real world. Your
That's a
TV
fact.
is not a window to the real world. The real world is what you see walking around, interacting with people on a daily basis. That's the real world. None of this, all this other stuff is nonsense.
Facts.
Don't let it bother you.
Spitting facts. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table with Andy and Lou.